Welcome back, TCG Squad. It is another set 3 spoilers. We have gotten roughly about 16 cards spoiled, so I'm going to be creating 2 videos today. We have part 1 for week 3 of the spoilers, and then part 2 for week 3 of the spoilers. So let's go ahead and get started and see what we're working with today. First up, we have Mace Windu. This is a heroism and aggression leader. It says, action, pay 1 resource and exhaust, deal 1 damage to a damaged unit. Then if it has 5 or more damage on it, deal 1 damage on it. It says, epic action, if you control 7 or more resources, deploy this leader. When he's a leader unit, he is a 7 resource unit. He has 5 attack and 8 defense, and he has, when deployed, deal 2 damage to each damaged enemy unit. Wow, he is a beast. So let's go ahead and look at the leader side. In order to use his ability, you have to pay 1 and tap it, right? So you're going to be doing 1 damage, which is alright for paying 1 resource. And then if it has 5 or more damage, you can do an additional damage. So potentially you can do 2 damage for 1 resource. I think that's very okay. I think most of the time you're probably going to only get that 1 damage off because you probably have, how many units really have 5 or more health to finish something off? That is very meh in my opinion. But what I do think is very cool about it though, is that it just says to an enemy unit. So if your opponent has a leader, and it is which tends to have more health, if they're at 5 damage when you do that ping, then you can do the 6 damage to kill them. Or if they're at 6 damage, then you can do 7 damage to kill it. I think that's very good. But aside from that, I don't know if I'll be using his ability unless I know I can actually kill off an enemy unit, right? So I think you're going to be using that sparingly just when you know when you can kill it. The leader unit part, oh man, he is good. When deployed, you're going to do 2 damage to each damaged enemy unit. This is almost like a board wipe. There's cards in the game that we'll see that does damage to the entire board. So this can help you clear out your opponent's board if you had some damage on them. I think it's very, very strong. And not to mention that he has 8 defense. That's a very powerful defense. And that's a lot. That means he is tanky. And 5 damage is nothing to worry about. The only downside is that 7 resources in order to deploy him. If you're playing a lot of those aggro type decks, you probably are finishing the game around resource 5 or 6. So if you have Mace Windu, there might be a possibility against a super aggro deck that you might not even get him out before the game's over. But all in all, I'll give Mace Windu a solid rating. Next up, we have Mace Windu's Lightsaber. This is a 2-cost upgrade. Its aspects are obviously going to be aggression and heroism. It says attached to a non-vehicle unit. When played, if attached to unit is Mace Windu, draw 2 cards. This will give the user or the character this upgrade +2 attack and +2 defense. Hey, all in all, I think these lightsabers are solid. 2 costs to upgrade Mace Windu. If you put it on him, you draw 2 cards. Again, card draw, I think is very good in the game because it can help you determine what your strategy is after you play the upgrade. We're also going to have Mace Windu's a 5/8. This will put him to 7/10. Again, Mace Windu's just becoming tankier. I really like the card. It is a rare. Other than that, I think it's a solid lightsaber. I don't think there's any difference in terms of the other lightsabers out there in the game. This one's just very specialized for Mace Windu. I honestly thought this was going to be more. I was going to think it would be closer to like Vader's lightsaber for Mace Windu, where it's like 3 attack or 1 defense, but I'll take 2 plus draw 2 cards. I think it's completely worth it. I think this is a solid lightsaber. I have no complaints. Next up, we have Equalize. This is a 3-cost event. Its aspects are double vigilance, and it says give a unit -2/-2 for this phase. Then if you control fewer units than that unit's controller, give another -2/-2 for this phase. This is a rare card. Equalize is good. It's basically a token board wipe, mainly aimed for, I think, heroism, because if we think about the clones, they're 2/2s, whereas the droids are 1/1s. So this probably be a card that you can go in, and again, if you're playing control, you hardly have units on the board. you're trying to maintain till you control and then bring out the big units and win the game. So this actually gives you the ability to wipe out 2 units potentially. And I'd say when you are control, you're more than likely going to have less units. You're going to be able to get -2, -2. And that might not always kill any units, but if you think about this as a resource cost 3, your opponent probably had 2 cards already on the field, and this might be a way to kill them. And if it doesn't, it might be a way to limit damage. The card is solid. I have really no complaints. I think it's pretty good. Next up, we have the Elite P-38 Starfighter. This is a 3-cost space unit. His aspects are cunning and villainy. It has 3 attack and 2 defense, and this says when played and when defeated, you may deal 1 damage to a unit. For 3 costs, a 3/2, I have a little bit of a complaint. I'd rather have looking at 3/3, but has slightly less defense because you have a when played and when defeated condition. I like cards like this that can deal damage when you play them and they die, because that effectively is 2 damage. So potentially if you go in and attack opponent's base, you're going to do 1 damage to kill a unit, hopefully. And it just says deal 1 damage to a unit, so that you can do that damage to ground or space. And then once it dies, you're going to do another damage to another unit. I think this is a solid card. I don't have any issues with these types of cards. I personally like them as an aggro player. Sometimes you just need to swing into a higher defense unit so you can take it out. This way you essentially can do 5 damage with 3 resource unit. I'll take that every day. Next up, we have Kit Fisto. This is a 6-cost ground unit. His aspects are aggression, has 7 attack and 6 defense. He has Saboteur and Coordinate. His Coordinate ability says on attack, you may deal 3 damage to a ground unit. Whew. Kit Fisto, he is a beast. He has 7 attack. That is crazy for a 6 resource and 6 defense. What's even crazy is that he has Saboteur, and if you have 3 or more units on the field, he's going to gain that keyword Coordinate. So imagine if there's a unit that had, for example, Sentinel that had 3 health, and you're starting your round and you want to go ahead and have your rest of the units block, but you kind of don't want to kill it with Fisto, the Sentinel. Well, guess what? You don't have to. You can go and swing into base, do 7 damage on your opponent's base, and then because you had the 3 or more units, you can do 3 damage to that Sentinel. Now that your opponent has no Sentinel guarding its life, your rest of your units could go in and for that base damage. I think Kit Fisto is solid. Now, again, I've said multiple times, I'm not a big fan of Coordinate, but with this guy, I think you might be able to pull it off every once in a while. Keep in mind, at 6 resources, depending on the deck, you're probably not going to have that many units on the field that are starting to be big cost ones. Might be something in turn 2 you have to think about it. You might have to go and play like a resource turn 5. You're going to have to play like maybe a 3 cost and a 2 cost unit, and then your resource 6 turn you drop Kit Fisto after you've attacked, and then maybe if you have initiative you immediately attack so you can try to utilize that Saboteur. All in all, I think Kit Fisto is a solid card. I don't really have any complaints about him, and for a rare, I think he's a solid card. Next up, we have Aayla Secura. This is a 5-cost ground unit. Its aspects are command and heroism. She has 6 attack and 5 defense, and this also has the keyword Coordinate. On attack, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt for this unit for this attack. Holy crap, Aayla Secura is crazy good. A 5-costed Jedi that goes 6 and swings for 6, and when you have Coordinate, you can prevent all combat damage. This is better than, in my opinion, better than the Han Solo, because he has shoot first essentially, meaning he does combat damage first, and then if you kill the opponent, you're good. But if you don't kill it, he's going to receive the combat damage. This is just negates it. This is crazy good. And again, the caveat is that you have to have that Coordinate. But we have already seen cards that can allow you to create 2 clone trooper tokens. It could be something that simple. Your first turn, you had Aayla on the field. You're going to go ahead and create 2 clone trooper tokens, and then you attack. Now, it would be in your opponent's best interest to immediately kill one of those so that Aayla doesn't have trigger that on attack coordinate ability, right? But Aayla Secura is solid. She is a legendary. I think she's very good. I have really no complaints. At a 5 cost, I like where the cost is at. I like the ability. I like the attack and defense. She is a very good legendary. I am confident we'll see definitely decks that are gonna abuse this coordinate mechanic, and she's just going to start wiping your opponent's board. Next up, we have the Clone Heavy Gunner. This is a 2-cost ground unit. Its aspects are aggression, and he has 1 attack, he has 3 defense, and as his coordinate, you get +2 and 0. For 2 resources, I think he's a little underpowered in terms of attack. He only has 1. His defenses makes up for it, so it's okay. I think this card is very average. I mean, sure, you get coordinate, you do 3 damage, but I still don't know how good coordinate is going to be. I think exploit's a lot better, and I've said that multiple times in videos, but I could be wrong. This card is very average. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just meh. Next up, we have Bloodsport. This is a 3-cost event. His aspects are aggression, and it says deal 2 damage to each ground unit. Wow. Uncommon card. This is good. This is token board wipe right here. Remember, again, I'm going to say Clone Troopers 2/2, Droids 1/1. Imagine somehow your opponent had Clone Wars where you create so many clone tokens and then your opponent will create so many droid tokens. Well, this is where you want to follow that up with this card, Bloodsport. You want to wipe out all your opponent's ground unit, so next turn you can just swing in. This actually is going to be very fun. I actually want to see this card, and as an aggro player, I think I'm going to be slotting this in my first double red deck just to see how it does when my opponent's board, if he's getting out of control. Might be a great way to wipe it out. I love this card. It's actually going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to use it. And lastly, we have Admiral Yularen. He is a 3-cost ground unit. His aspects are command and heroism. He has 2 attack and 5 defense. He has restore 1, and it says each other friendly heroism user gets +0/+1. Admiral Yularen, very tanky at 5 defense for 3 resources. I like that. I usually try to see 3/3, but he actually has a little bit more. Even with the trade-off from the attack, he has a little bit more defense. He has restore. Restore is very good in the game. I have 0 complaints. I think what's even cooler about that is that he actually buffs up all your units. So keep in mind, remember one of the spoilers, we had Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan with Yularen on the field, Obi-Wan will get another defense, and then he allows him to self get healed and get Sentinel, right? So when he's out on the field. So I think Yularen is actually a pretty solid card. It is a rare card. I think we're going to be seeing this card. We actually seen a lot of cards right now with Ray and Green where they try to stack up a lot of restore. Well, guess what? Now with Yularen out in the field, he's going to be restoring, and he's going to make those same cards have 1 defense stronger, so a little bit harder to deal with. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more restore decks with this card now that it's actually improving the defense of all of them. This is a solid card. I don't have any complaints. All right, guys, those were all the spoilers that we have from week 3 in September. This is part 1. We'll be releasing another video here on part 2, which is the other half of the spoilers. If you liked or enjoyed what I said, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. If you disagreed or didn't like something, hit me up in the comments. Tell me what you didn't agree with, or tell me what you think I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your opinion. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good day. Peace.